Hey y'all, hey, welcome back to another episode of Truth, Trust, and Trajectory with your girl Nchukym B. Today I'm here with a very special guest. This is my friend, my sister, Tynea Drakeford, who is also a life coach. She is a mental health professional and someone who has walked in her own healing journey. Today we're going to be having a conversation that feels really vulnerable for both of us. We're talking about learning to let love in, not just giving it, which so many of us are good at, but actually receiving it, not so much. We're going to be learning that love does not have to hurt. Tynea, can you please introduce yourself to my audience?
Hey y'all, hey. My name is Tynea. I was a registered behavior technician, and I'm also a marriage and family therapist. But I think you did a great job of introducing me. Fuck it. We're gonna have a good time today while we out
Yes,
here, walking in our power and being vulnerable.
let's
Because it's
get
not
it.
easy,
Yes,
but
ma'am.
we're gonna try and make it fun.
Oh yeah,
I
we're,
tell
we're
my clients that all the time.
yeah. See, it's okay if you drop a couple tears, honey. Sprinkle, sprinkle. What you say?
You in a safe space. It's
Yes.
okay.
So exactly. I think that so many of us confuse doing the work with just learning how to love better and
Hmm.
how to give more. But what about receiving? What about letting it in?
I think letting it in is so hard because we we confuse, we confuse giving it and receiving it, and it's always been a struggle for me. Like even if we start at the very beginning, like when I don't know if everybody knows, but I am the mom of the Drakeford bunch.
Put
Which is
your stuff at the
basically
bottom too. I got to figure out how to.
what? Oh, with that,
Yeah.
yes. So, my wife and I are raising 6 kids. Yeah, 6.
Yeah.
But it wasn't always easy, for me to let love in because literally when I was younger, I saw, a lot of just what you shouldn't do as a parent.
Yeah.
And growing up, affection wasn't really a thing in my house. Like my parents really never hugged and kissed. And so instinctively, when I had my own kids, I flinched, when my kids hugged me. And when they wrapped their arms around my waist, I'd be like, oh, like I felt anxiety, like I wanted to love them, but my body didn't know how to receive their affection.
Mm,
And so I would go stiff, and it wasn't because I didn't love them, but because I didn't know what to do with
mm,
that softness.
yeah.
Like, have you ever realized you didn't know how to let people love you because no one ever showed you?
Yeah.
And so love made me tense. It wasn't because I was cold, it was because I didn't grow up knowing that love could feel gentle.
Yeah.
And I didn't know affection could land so softly. It felt dangerous to me. So whenever, like my babies would be running up on me for hugs and kisses, I'm just like, whoa, this is not safe. Like,
Settle
what are you
down there.
this is overwhelming. This is not
Oh, your mother.
yes.
Take care of you. You got hands to yourself.
But me and Kim, we go I feel like we go way back, but y'all, we just met like this year. But I'm telling you, like we've had so many conversations, and I think throughout those conversations, I recognize that this story doesn't just start with my kids. It started like before them. Like I was talking about, like with my mom and my grandparents, like I had to learn how to let love in. And so that's basically what this episode is about, about learning and the point that we learned to heal. Um Growing up, I had to beg my grandmother for hugs and kisses. My mom, I never saw her get affection from my grandma. And so my grandfather passed away in front of me when I was 11. I think it was 11. Yeah. And it was right around my birthday. And so I felt wrong for celebrating my birthday for years, but that's a whole nother story. But anyway, I never saw a lot of affection between my grandparents. I really never saw my parents like authentically kiss each other goodnight. And so what I did see was emotional abuse, door slammings, yelling. I didn't witness healthy intimacy, only tension. And so love in my house wasn't something that I was able to like relax into. It was something I survived.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
so, as a little girl, I built a story around that. And that's how I decided I wanted to be a therapist. Because when I was 7, I was laying in my bed and I got woken up by my parents arguing and yelling. And I just walked in there, can you imagine a little 7-year-old? And I was like, Mom, why are you yelling at Dad? Dad, why are you yelling at Mom? Just
Right.
talk. I swear that was what I said.
Mm.
And so I guess I chose that moment to like rewrite my own story by deciding, that love doesn't have to feel the way that I've always been taught it had to feel. And so I don't think I realized like that story would follow me into adulthood.
Mm.
But I learned early that love was confusing. I learned that affection wasn't safe.
Mm.
And my body remembered. Even when I wanted love, I didn't know how to hold on to it.
Mm. Yeah, no, that's extremely relatable, and I feel like there might be a lot of people that are going to listen to this episode that can also relate, just as far as like being raised in like traumatic households. And I always used to have this conversation with people, and say like, in your beginning years, and this is like more on the spiritual side, but I feel like your parents' first job is to traumatize you. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And I've had people get so downright like offended when I say that.
But that
You know what
makes
I'm
so much
saying?
sense, though.
It does, because you understand those are the if that wasn't true, everybody would be born to perfect parents and would have great experiences and be able to go out and be productive members of society in
Mm.
whatever single way, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that it is literally a rare occurrence where someone can literally tell you like, oh, I grew up in a two-family household and my parents are still together to this day.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw them loving each other and they were patient and kind and they spread that love and that practice onto us, and then we took
Mm-hmm.
that and we brought it into the world. That is
Absolutely.
literally a 1.999% out of 100,000
I believe it.
people. You
I believe
understand,
it.
that can literally say that. So that what you just shared, I feel like is relatable to so many different people. And I just want to appreciate you and thank you for sharing that, because a lot of people would never ever be able to admit like half of that and knowing where it comes from.
Yeah.
So I think that's wonderful. So when did you first realize that you might potentially repeat or start repeating some of those patterns from your childhood?
I think I realized. So I got married super young. I met my ex when I was 16,
Mm.
and we were best friends. I mean, like we did everything together. We were the kind of friends who finished each other's sentences. It felt like bliss.
Mm.
We had dreams and we thought we were growing together in a healthy way,
Mm.
but we were too young to understand what healthy really meant. We got married, I think, at 19.
Mm.
I was 19 and they were 22.
Mm.
So we didn't even know like what to ask for because neither of us had really ever seen it. My ex didn't grow up with a great example of healthy. Like I think we both confused routine for love. It was familiar and so it felt safe.
Yes.
And so eventually, we got married. But then we stopped seeing each other altogether. And I had actually told my partner, like, I was like, I don't want to have a kid. So check this out. My daughter was born a year later after we got married. Like, if that doesn't tell you that somebody does not care how you feel.
Yeah.
And I did the things like that, all things that I could do to protect myself. Because I know people are going to be like, well, why didn't you just use birth control? Well, I had some medical, situations going on where I couldn't use, certain things. And they were really trying to find what worked for me. But in the process of us finding what worked for me,
You're having.
exactly. I mean, listen, I like it. All right.
Four of mine were born, they were conceived even on birth control.
Mm.
So when I say this is, because I know there are going to be people out there, some very low vibrational women and very unkempt men, that have no idea about the half. But what I will say as someone that has been on birth control, that is very freaking accurate. That I've conceived on the pill. I've conceived with the freaking IUD, with the
Mm.
Depo-Vera shot.
I
And
was on
and
Depo.
people don't realize that these things were not constructed for us.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I
So
think I think people think that it's like it's the only way, where there is like there's no slip ups, there's no chances, but
oh,
there are definitely chances
but they
because
tell you how effective it is. If it's
right,
not 100%, what are we talking about?
absolutely. That's right.
What actually are we talking about here? The
Facts.
ligation isn't even 100%.
Right, right.
Okay?
So but yeah, so I ended up having a kid a year later. And I just felt so dismissed.
Hmm.
I felt so unseen. I felt like I was a burden. And in that point of my life, I remember thinking like, man, like maybe I shouldn't stay with this person. But I've seen, like they got it in media, so not social media, but media like movies and back in the day,
Yeah.
like we used to see women get treated so badly by their spouses and partners, and they stayed with them.
Yeah,
And so
they
we were,
normalized it.
yes,
It has been it's been it's a social construct, and that's why you see so
absolutely,
many men that literally habitually have bad behavior, and their expectation is that women are supposed to stay by their
accepted.
side.
Hmm.
Oh, you're supposed to be a ride or die.
Right.
Oh, you're not for me. No,
Hmm.
you're not a leader.
Right.
You're not raising the bar.
They can do
Why? What the
whatever they
fuck am I
want.
submitting to?
Yes.
What
And so,
would we like me to submit to? Poverty,
but it's like,
destitution, depression?
but it's like, how can you submit to someone who's not even a leader when that person doesn't even know who they are
And
themselves?
they can't even lead themselves, but they
Hmm.
got the nerve to fix their face and tell you. And that literally is a common example of a person. It's like, tell me that you don't know how to control yourself. You have a lack of self discipline without
Hmm.
telling me that you have
Exactly.
self discipline.
Exactly. And so I stayed because my parents were together for 30 years.
Mm,
They shouldn't have been. They should not have been. But I've seen, in my grandparents, they really didn't get a chance to be together because my grandfather died very young. He was like
mm,
50 something.
wow.
But that's really all I seen. And like my aunts and uncles were like it was just chaos.
Yeah.
It was toxicity all around. So I didn't really know what to do. I was like, okay, I have to stay because we got a kid together, And so I stayed because I thought love meant loyalty, even to my own demise. And even
Yeah.
though I was so unhappy, but I was taught that staying in my marriage was more important than my own
Anything.
happiness.
Yeah. And that
But
comes from, it's a message from broken women. Broken
absolutely,
women train other broken or other women to break.
generational trauma and
Yes,
generational curses.
yes,
Mm-hmm. And so,
100%.
what'd you say?
I said 100%.
Oh, absolutely. And so what I didn't realize until much later was I wasn't in love with my ex partner. I was in love with who I used to be when I first met my ex partner.
So you kept
Because
trying to find
I
yourself.
kept trying to find myself, and I was like, if I was this person before, maybe if I stay, I'll find it again. But before life and trauma pulled us into opposite directions,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like I liked who I was. I was happy. I was laughing all the time. But we didn't have the tools to
Mm-hmm.
learn from what we were experiencing because we were living out patterns that we didn't even know we inherited.
Exactly.
And for a while, I confused that closeness with compatibility.
Mm.
It
But
felt
it was a codependence disguised as
mm-hmm,
compatibility.
mm-hmm,
Mm.
because it felt familiar.
Oh yeah.
And when you grow up in chaos, familiarity, it feels like home, even when it hurts.
Hurts. Yeah.
But the pain became harder to ignore.
Mm.
And I was told everything I did was too much or not enough. And I still
Mm.
stayed.
Mm.
I stayed because that was my person.
Yeah.
I stayed because I'm a Taurus.
So loyalty over everything. Fuck y'all talk about. Like, talk about.
Yes. And Tauruses are loyal
They're
to a
loyal to a
fault.
fault. Top Tauruses are loyal to a fault because I know. I mean, you'd be the third Taurus in my life. My mother, and then I have a friend from, you already know who she is, but
Mm-hmm.
from years ago. And that's
Mm-hmm.
one thing, y'all will literally stay even to your own detriment when it's tearing you completely apart and destroying you.
Absolutely. But
Hmm.
check this out. My mom is a Taurus. So I
I mean,
learned
it
it
makes sense.
honestly.
It makes sense.
I
It
learned,
was mapped out that way. Hmm.
absolutely. And so I stayed because I confused their reflection of me with love.
Yeah.
I stayed because I was hopeful that things would change.
Hmm.
But I soon realized that I was in love with a mirror,
Yeah.
not with who that person actually was.
So, would you say you were in love with the potential of what you thought he should be or what you thought he could have been? And that's what you, because I think and I ask this because as women, I know when it comes to relationships with the opposite gender, we always nine times, and I don't care how bad the bitch is and how she tries to, I don't care. Most, if not all, and the ones that don't do it, you ain't got no souls. I'm sorry. Okay, you just don't, right? But because it's inherently in our nature, right? So we automatically tend to see the good things about people, and because we are natural nurturers by
Mm-hmm.
nature, we try to
Mm-hmm.
nurture that in which we see. Is it
Mm-hmm.
delusional? 100%. Right? It's
Absolutely.
fucking delusional. Because here I
Absolutely.
am trying to convince you that you are this amazing, great fucking God. And you're like, bitch, I'm dirty. And I
Like,
don't
see
deserve
me.
it. You're like,
Absolutely.
no, babe, stop it. That's not true. You know what I'm saying? So in the back of his mind, subconscious, he's like, bitch, I'm about to put your
I'm
seatbelt
gonna
on
show
and
you.
test your endurance, huh?
Facts. Facts. And you know, I think when you think about it like that, definitely the potential, right?
Yeah.
Because when we first was together, I was in love with who I was.
So
So
you
I
saw
was
both things in
constantly,
him.
yes, so I was constantly looking for him to make me feel that when really I needed to look inside.
Because only you could provide that for yourself.
Exactly. And that's why I said I realized I was in love with the mirror. I
Yes.
wasn't in love with them. I was in love with me
Yes.
because he was a narcissist.
So
So
was he like a covert or like a straight
absolutely covert.
covert?
Everybody was telling me how amazing he was and how blessed I was for being with this person. And oh
Well,
my
no,
gosh, like he treats you so great.
I don't trust it.
So I started gaslighting myself and was like, yeah.
Everybody else sees it. Maybe I'm being ungrateful.
Exactly. Like, maybe
I'm being ungrateful one.
Why am I being ungrateful when
Right.
this person would just give me the world? And those weren't my words. Those were
everybody else's. So you were basically viewing your own situation through everybody else's lens.
Yes.
Of perception, even though they were not actively in it with you.
Mm-hmm. And nobody knew. When we finally got the divorce, when I told them the things that was going on, well, why didn't you tell me? Well, how could I shatter this view, this fantasy that you had of this person?
Right.
Because we were married for 10 plus years.
I mean, even if you do, so just in my opinion, right? I feel like, and I'm not saying it's intentional, but what I will say is I've noticed that family has this really weird tendency of, even when you're screaming for help, they will literally go deaf. Right? And then it's like when shit hits the fan, now it's like, why didn't you tell me? Yeah. I lied! Bitch, did you not see the black eye? I didn't follow!
You know, and it's sad though.
Yeah, like, come on now. We're not gonna play that game. We're not gonna do that. What?
It's sad.
Yeah.
It's sad because people, they will blame the victim.
Oh yeah.
Victim blaming and shaming, when it's like, bro, like, I was telling you what I was experiencing, but you were telling me, oh no, baby, it's gonna get better. It's okay. You just gotta keep
away the bad behavior. Yeah. And they never acknowledge that though. You know what I'm saying? Not ever. No. I'm here if you need me, and then when you need them, it's like, hesitate to ask somebody else. Straight out of paper, sorry.
Right.
Yeah. What?
Absolutely. And so the deeper I went into that relationship, the more I lost me.
And that's the worst feeling.
The more I lost access to my voice. Because I remember this one particular time we got into this really, really bad argument. And there was an apology. You know what there was? Hey, I'm going to the store. You want something?
No, I'm good, actually. I want you to get going.
But this was him training me to accept
the bare minimum. Yeah, yep.
And I did. And the next time it happened, I was like, yeah, I'll take a candy bar.
Because now he's training you that his disrespect is viable. So he can pay, as long as he funds you for it, then he can keep you right where he wants you to. And that's why I don't like a lot of these new age the women that are teaching other women, oh, if he messes up, just ask for his credit card or tell us.
Right.
That's fucking bad. You're not only damaging women and
financial abuse,
but you're fucking these men up and you're setting them up for failure. Because in their minds, they already have a fucking God complex, and I don't care how successful they are or how fucking low they are. You understand? Their complex, their ego is off the fucking charts.
Yes,
it's off the charts. So imagine training a man and telling him, like, yo, you can violate me, you can disrespect me, you can do whatever you want to me, and in exchange, I'll just take a fucking bag of hot Takis. Goddamn ginger ale, nigga. Don't come back without my shit.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely.
And people are trying to change it. Like, oh, well, it's a Louis Vuitton bag. It's red bottoms. Bitch, it was a house. I don't give a fuck what the monetary shit is.
Right.
I don't
care. It was crazy because it was like there was no apology. And I was just okay with accepting that.
You didn't know any better, though.
I didn't know no
better. Nobody taught me. Nobody showed you any better. Because 9 times out of 10, you probably watched your parents.
I did.
That same cycle. Your dad probably disrespect your mom, and it came home with a gift for her. Or some food. You know what I'm saying? Or, oh, let me get your tires changed, baby. You know what I'm saying? It's a toxic fucking cycle. And we literally watch it over and over again. And then we end up taking over and we play it out in our own lives.
Exactly. But let's go a step further. So there are a lot of core traits of a God complex, right? Where a person has an inability to admit to their mistakes. Yes. They're never wrong. They had this need for control. where they dominate others, or they believe their way is the best. They think they're the superiority complex. They think they're better, smarter,
unteachable,
more
untrainable.
important.
Bible
Exactly.
talks about those too. Yep.
Yes. And so there's no empathy. There's a lack of empathy because they disregard the feelings, the
Of other
needs, the
people.
perspectives, the views of others. It's all about them.
Yeah.
And that's why I always felt dismissed, because there is a dismissive of authority.
Yes.
Like, they don't want anybody telling them anything. They challenge or ignore rules, and they believe that they're above them.
Yeah.
They always got to be right.
Yeah.
So that's why I always felt dismissed, because I was always being belittled. I was always being dismissed. That's why I felt that way.
Yeah.
And so, they never apologized. They could never be held accountable, and made me feel like I was dramatic for feeling anything at all. To the point that I began to numb myself because I'm wrong for feeling something. I started walking on eggshells. And then it got worse. The gaslighting, the breadcrumbing, the defensiveness. I just felt so too emotional. I was too needy. I was too much of this. I was too much of that. Too much of everything. They refused to understand me.
Yeah.
And then those patterns turned into cycles.
Yeah, you was just probably trying to get the relationship back on track, right? Because when that happens, right? When you deal with a person like that, and I feel like there are a lot of women that go through that, men too, I'm sure, right? But we're not talking about y'all right now, all right? We're talking about the women, right? That when you're dealing with somebody, and it's not that because I hate the word trick. I don't feel like they trick us, right? In a sense,
They manipulate us, absolutely.
It's manipulation, right? And this is just coming from my own objective standpoint, because I just had this conversation with somebody a couple of days ago on Threads, and she told me that I shouldn't be taking accountability for the abuse that I endured, right? Now I was talking about for a 14-year span, and she said, "Oh, you're the victim." I said, "Hold on, I need you to wait a second, right?" Now, just because you don't have the proper knowledge to know something, and it's a hard truth. It's hard, right? But it doesn't make it not true. Just because I did not know what I could have done did not give me the right to excuse my feelings. And that was for me, right? So I felt that something was off. There are so many times that I felt like, I knew. Deep down I knew. I need to leave this motherfucker, right?
But you pushed it to the side.
I pushed it because up here in my mind, I was like, yo, I'm projecting my illusionary, fictionary, who I think this person is, even though he's like, nah, bitch, like, that's not why. Get that shit out of here.
Oh yeah, I agree. I agree. It's definitely a part of our fault. We have to take accountability for how we put ourselves in that situation.
Right.
Because we definitely were the ones that allowed ourselves to be put into that situation. So
right.
I completely agree with you.
Right. But the thing is, and I only bring that up because I feel like a lot of people, they get triggered. Like even the lady on Thread, she got annoyed. I could tell because she stopped responding. Right. I was like, bitch, I'm not a fucking victim. Like, thank you, but no thank you. Like, I'm good. I don't need that shit.
Well, hold up. Isn't it possible that you could be both at the same time?
No.
You don't think you could be a victim and also take accountability for what happened to you?
At this particular time, knowing what I know now, no. Okay, so here's the thing. In my mind, right? And you know a great deal of my story, right? A great deal. And there are times where we've had conversations, and you know the ones that I'm talking about.
Yes.
And you've questioned my choices and decisions, right? And you've personally said to me, what, Kim? You know better. Like, this came from you, right? So that, and I will dodge you and not speak to you because my ego do something. So if I'm able to articulate this to you on live broadcast, I'm not trying to hear none of that shit. I'm not. Like,
okay, so were you talking about, you're saying like at this point,
as a whole, because I realize my patterns are my patterns. You understand? And those are optional. That is by choice, right? Because they say what they say. When you know better, you do better, right? If you're choosing not to do better, then that means that somewhere along the line, you're choosing the path of
better.
You know what I'm saying? You're choosing to stay in a cycle that you already know how it's gonna go. You understand what I'm saying? So maybe like when I was 22, 23.
Well, that's what I was talking about. I meant like you were at the time, you know, like back in the day when it actually happened, you definitely were a victim.
So this is where I'm gonna clarify, because I'm gonna stand on this, right? Me knowing and being the woman I am today and looking back, I should have left that nigga after I had our second child. And I can be honest with you because the signs were there. He gave me he burned me while I was pregnant with our son.
Okay, so you're basically saying like there were red flags.
There were red flags. He was a walking red flag, and I knew that, and I still stayed. You know why? Because at that particular time, I'd never been alone on my own. I went from foster care to my husband. You understand? So there was a level of, even though it was false, it was a fake level of security. It was still a security that I had never experienced since I was a child. Huh?
I said, so he was your security blanket.
He was my security blanket.
I got you.
You know what I'm saying? Like my scapegoat. And being able to push out kids for him and stay at home while he's doing what he wants to do and disrespecting me and violating me, and I'm sitting here crying, playing victim, knowing damn well, nigga, you should have never made it past one. I should have never fucking procreated for you multiple times. But I did it anyway. Because I took the easy way out. I didn't choose the path of least resistance. I didn't want to be another statistic. You know what I'm saying? I
have multiple baby daddies.
Exactly.
I mean, and I want to thank you for being vulnerable on your own podcast, because it takes.
You know, that's the thing about me. I'm always keeping funky. Like that's what it is. I don't got nothing to hide. Like I think last week I finally came to the realization that I'm not ashamed of my life choices. I'm just not. There's nothing that anybody can throw in my face that can make me be like, oh man, like no. I made those choices so I could be the person that I am today. So what's next?
I mean, I feel you. I think in my situation, it was a little bit different because I didn't really know. I was naive.
Yeah.
I was very naive, and I didn't have like a really strong support system. And for that support system that I had, I didn't really have anybody supporting me, you know, like really telling me like, hey,
in the right way,
you shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do that. I didn't have anybody doing that for me. So for me, I just kind of just did.
You just moved. So, and I feel like we spoke about this before, right? And that's like one of the many commonalities that we have as far as like the support system and the influence that we had, right? Especially going into motherhood and going into being wives, right? The person that damaged us the most were also so happened to be the mentor of fucking demise, right?
So how can you learn when you? That's crazy.
So, and it's like, yes, that being naive, it takes away so much. And when you are naive, you literally have everything to lose and nothing to gain. You have everything to gain later on in life, right? But in the imminent future, like right now, you losing everything.
The presence.
Because you got a bunch of hype men in the back condoning the same shit. They're like, yo, this is regular. This is normal, baby. What you talking? You gotta be happy you got a man.
Right.
Be happy. He's here. He works. He didn't fucking go and get milk and disappear. What are we talking about here?
I mean, but you know what? And so that's the thing. I was taught to tiptoe. I was taught to walk on eggshells. I was taught to swallow my sadness and to carry it. I carried my dysfunction like it was a badge of glory.
You just endure.
Because that's what we learned from our ancestors. Yeah. That's what we learned from movies. That's what we learned from, you know, like, even if we go back, the two can play at that game.
Girl, no, you didn't.
what was the message from that movie? Two can play that game.
I feel like the bigger message was that the men are always going to win. Women think that they can play the same game, and in trying to play on a man's level, you're always going to lose because they don't fucking think like us. They do not feel like us.
They don't
They're
have
not like
that
us.
emotional
Yes.
drive like we do.
Yes.
And I could say the same thing for what is it called? A thin line between love and hate.
Yo, she went off, baby. She went, I saw you crazy, huh?
The real kind. But you know what that message was? They pushed us to that point.
Yeah.
Because she told him, she was like, yo, leave me alone. If you ain't really about it, if you ain't gonna be 100% in with me, don't come around.
Don't be around. Yeah. But he looked at her like a fucking lick.
Trophy. It was a trophy.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, I'm about to get, and that's how I felt like my ex looked at me. It was like,
oh, this young fine thing, I'm about to fucking mark my territory.
Right. But we were 19 and 22. Neither one of us knew what the hell marriage was really about at that time. And so it was kind of like, let me pump a baby in you so I can mark my territory. And again, we learned to be okay with that.
Yes.
From our movies back in the day. They
the movies,
taught us.
music, all of that. The entire culture is just based upon fucking trauma and toxicity. There's nothing in it.
And so I ended up learning that my ex was a narcissist. And he taught me that love will always come with harm and at a price. And that taught me that I shouldn't expect peace. You know, his actions showed me that I needed to learn to brace myself for those unhealed responses and just call it normal.
Wow.
So I did, and I stayed. I stayed until I couldn't anymore. But that's the thing about narcissists. Like, they don't just hurt you. They hurt you and then convince you that it's your fault.
Yeah, they will literally break you. They will convince you that it is your fault. And then they'll leave you to pick up all of the pieces by yourself while they move on to the next person.
Their next source. Very person. Their next source.
Yeah, because they don't look at them.
Right. And statistics even show that before they leave you, they already got that source waiting. That source is waiting.
Oh, yeah.
So once they leave you, it's no break in between.
They just go.
They already got that source that they've been.
Yeah, they already. Yeah. Listen, you preaching to the choir, baby. Because you know, I done put some stuff up, some things up on here, up on Truth, Trust, and Trajectory. You know, I'm not mad. I ain't mad at nobody. Because here's my thing, right? And it took me a while to get to this point where I wasn't like bitter or feeling any sort of way. But at the end of the day, baby, you gotta get it how you live it. You know what I'm saying? The moment that I realized that I wasn't actually losing something, right? Someone else was inheriting the very same heartbreak, pain, and anguish. Because the thing about it is when narcissistic men, they go on to the next supply. Because I was that dumb pick-me-shot. I ain't gonna lie to you. I thought with my last relationship that I was a lucky bitch. I said, damn, they probably made a meme about me. You idiots. I was like, oh, he cut off his social media for me. He did this. Yeah, he wouldn't do this for none of y'all. But I'm pretty sure he has. You know what I'm saying? Until he gets bored and tired with it. And then now he's bored with you and tired with you and annoyed with you and resentful because you're holding him back from the fun life that he should be having.
Right. How dare you?
How dare you try to make me evolve, you heathenous woman?
I mean, but that's the thing, you know, they give you the expectation that their unhealed responses, that their unhealed actions are all you should ever expect.
Yep.
And I believed it.
And that's all they have to offer, you know, to anybody else. I've seen it with my own two eyes, and that's a conversation we'll have after this. But I know tears were dropped over the same thing that tears were dropped on my end. And I said, damn, it's crazy to watch somebody do me that way and then think that they're going to treat you any fucking different.
Karma, baby, karma.
Karma. Because you sat in my house with me while he was putting his hands on me. But you probably, you back in your mind like, baby, I can't wait till it's my turn. He would never. I'll stop saying that. I never say, oh, a person would never, because it'd be the one that you say would never quit. That'd be the one that'll exactly do you just like that. So I'm gonna move into segment 3. The thing about being in that relationship was the constant emotional dissonance. For me, I felt like I was being gaslit regularly, felt unseen, unheard, and I was constantly second guessing myself, my feelings, perceptions, and my reality. And my ex had these narcissistic traits that had me completely suppressing who I was, my voice, my gifts, my intuition. I learned to make myself smaller and smaller just to survive in that space. So, have you ever felt like you could not fully be yourself in your relationship?
Absolutely. 100%. Like everything that you just read was, it embodies everything that I felt when I was with that person. When I actually ended things with that person and we went to a specialist, I went to a Reiki specialist, I realized that my gifts were being suppressed.
And I feel like we talked about that too.
We absolutely have.
The three
Yeah.
vampires. Yes.
Yes. It was just like, so I'm gonna just go back a little bit, but talking about like walking away, like it was brutal. Like leaving that marriage was one of the hardest decisions of my life. And not because I didn't know it needed to end, but because that relationship became my identity.
Yeah.
Divorce felt like death. And it wasn't just like the death of the marriage, but it was the version of me that tolerated how badly I was treated.
Yeah.
And I was walking away from who I thought I was supposed to be. So to be honest, I grieved the marriage before it even ended. Because I wasn't just walking away from my ex. I was walking away from the dream. I was walking away from the family we created. We have 3 kids together. We had 2 cars, a nice big house by the water. Like we had everything,
Sounds like a comfortable lifestyle.
Yeah. And so I walked away from the girl who thought that she could fix everything by loving harder. And I was in the process of, so when I was with my ex, I was pretty much getting my degree. And so it was a lot that I was learning and unfolding, and so it was like when I was able to like really sit still and really think like, man, like who is this person? Who is this version of me who thought love meant striking? Who thought being chosen meant being quiet? Who thought surviving was enough? And so I just sat in silence and I journaled. We had one defining argument. And after that argument, I journaled. I just showed you some of the documents of when we journal. Like, I'm dead serious. Like, journaling is my life. I love journaling because through them journals, I realized, like, I can do this. Because that codependency.
Yeah.
I've never been with anybody else in my entire life for the next 10 plus years. I lived my 20s with this person. And so I thought, like, man, okay, this didn't break me. I can do this. And so it woke me up. But as painful as it was, that unraveling made space for me. For the first time in a long time, I could finally breathe. And so leaving that house, it wasn't just physical. It was energetic. It was spiritual. And I didn't just walk out of a marriage. I walked into my next chapter.
Yes.
My old self was dying. And I could feel it, like layer by layer. The girl who had to shrink was finally falling away. And so, like I said, I was going to bring it back, right? I'm bringing it back around. So the moment that I stopped sleeping in that house with him, I was having sleep paralysis all the time. Like, I couldn't move. I couldn't remember my dreams. Everything was just blocked. But the moment that I moved out, that sleep paralysis, gone.
Yeah.
I started dreaming again. My rest was peaceful. I could hear myself again. And I realized that I was slowly dying in that relationship. My intuition was muffled. My gifts, my
Muffled.
tarot reading,
Yeah.
my telepathy, my just knowing had been suffocated.
Yeah.
And I was gaslighting myself. I was telling myself, like, girl, you're not gifted. But
Don't tell me where. That was him. That was his overshot over his
exactly.
dark shadow casting over you.
I took what he was saying and I started telling myself, like, you're not gifted. Like, there's no way in hell that you could do anything when it comes to tarot reading. And the energy in that space had been from him was stifling my spirit. And so leaving wasn't just escape. It was initiation.
Yeah.
It was a rebirth. Because I wasn't becoming someone new. I was finally becoming me.
Yeah.
And so I didn't realize at the time how much he was choking my spirit. I noticed like how I'd never realized, and we talked about this. I told you, like, I didn't even know that I could read tarot. I stopped trusting my intuitive voice. I stopped trusting myself. But it was like my body had been waiting for permission to rest. And those gifts that I had were never gone. They were just buried beneath someone who didn't know how to hold space for them.
Exactly.
And so I went and I got my reading. Like, I'm bringing it back around again. I went and I got my reading, and she told me, you were never open to receive gifts because you were literally, that person was sent to block your gifts. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like, can you imagine somebody finally lifting the gaslighting off of you and telling you, like, it's not your fault? It wasn't you. It was that person. And it's like, oh my gosh, like, I felt so free. And it reminded me that my spirit was never the problem. It was the environment.
Exactly.
And so, my first experience getting Reiki, I did not go alone. My best friend, who became my wife, came with me, y'all.
Hey.
So, she was my best friend, and she turned into my safe space. And it was crazy, but this is the best version of serendipity that I know. Because we were not looking for love. We were just existing. We were just two people, just honest, no agenda, just being. And it was just genuine. Like, girl, you know the story. When I met her in person, we met and we talked at the Walmart parking lot for, let me ask her, baby, how many hours did we? 10 hours. Look, she said it. Say it again. She said 10 hours.
And I can hear you.
But yes,
it's 10.
It was 10. And even when I tell people that story, I feel like I have to like overcompensate to like explain like how real that was, because we did not think about, everybody asked us like, y'all didn't think about getting nothing to eat? Y'all didn't think about like going to the bar, grabbing a drink? Like, no.
So no, we was perfectly content and happy.
Yeah.
Shit.
And it was so genuine. Like, I didn't feel a need to shrink. And that was the beginning of everything changing for me, because for the first time in my life, I exhaled. I didn't have to brace for impact. I didn't have to explain my softness. She just let me be. And after being in a narcissistic relationship for so long, that kind of love, it felt surreal. And I'm not going to say I didn't have my moments where I was triggered. I didn't have my moments where I was still learning how to forgive myself and learning how to, no longer be in that space. I didn't have to hide because I wasn't with the narcissist anymore. I kept waiting for the switch. I'm looking for the love bombing to turn into punishment. I'm looking for the master drop. I'm like, all right, I'm looking for the too good to be true moment, but it never came. And she didn't want to change me. Let me correct that. She did want to change me, but she wanted to level me up for the better. She didn't want to silence me or make me small. She just loved me. And it still hasn't changed, y'all. We've been married for 5 years. Actually, this month
5 years
anniversary is literally one day before our daughter's birthday. But it's real. She never tries to silence me, but she tries to understand me. Okay. And it felt like I was finally waking up in a body that I didn't have to fight anymore. Because for the first time, I believed that I deserved the love that I was getting.
And I love that. And it sounds like, with Vaughn, you're able to feel like yourself fully in that relationship. And it sounds like this was the first time. And just based on a lot of conversations that we have, like, this is literally, how to say, like, people will practice on other people for like their future relationships, but it's like you had to practice on the bad eggs first. And
Yes.
now it's just like a practice of something actually healthy. Which I absolutely love that. And I want to go deeper into this. I think we are going into segment 4, but we're going to take a quick 3-minute break so I can use the bathroom.
Sounds good.
All right, so I'm going to put on a. All right, can you hear it?
No.
No? Hold on. All right, we're going to have to use that. All right, let's go back. All right. All right, we're going to take a quick 3-minute break, and I'll be right back.
I used to pray for peace in places that only caused me pain. Tried to fix broken people just to feel whole again. Lost myself trying to be enough for everyone but me. Now I breathe through the ache. I sit with my silence. I found power in the pause. And baby, this is my rebirth. Melodic, catchy and repeatable. This the soft life anthem, rebirth season. No more chaos, I found my reason. Breathe in peace, exhale my demise. I don't chase love now, I become the freedom. The storyteller episodes, blending kids, one soul, no time for regrets. Used to cry in the dark, now I coach through the depths. Lost my job, lost myself, but I found my breath. Turn pain into power, yeah. I live with no debt. Debt to my body, debt to my truth. I journal my trauma, I mothered my youth. The girl I used to be had to grieve it too. But the woman I'm becoming, that's the breakthrough. Melodic, catchy and repeatable. This the wonder body's dead to none and fit in twice. Tried it, emotional build, channel building.
up.
I used to pray for peace in places that only caused me pain. Tried to fix broken people just to feel whole again. Lost myself trying to be enough for everyone but me. Now I breathe through the ache. I sit with my silence. I found power in the pause. And baby, this is my rebirth. Melodic, catchy and repeatable. This the soft life anthem, rebirth season. No more chaos, I found my reason. Breathe in peace, exhale my demise. I don't chase love now, I become the freedom. The storyteller episodes, blending kids, one soul, no time for regrets. Used to cry in the dark, now I coach through the depths. Lost my job, lost myself, but I found my breath. Turned pain into power, yeah. I live with no debt. Debt to my body, debt to my truth. I journal my trauma, I mothered my youth. The girl I used to be had to grieve it too. But the woman I'm becoming, that's the breakthrough. Melodic, catchy and repeatable. This the wonder, but is dead to none of fitting twas. Tried it, emotional build, channel building.
I'll do it.
Okay. All right. All right. We back.
We back, y'all.
We are back. So I hope you guys enjoyed that song. That is my brand's anthem. It is the rebirthing theme song. Y'all can't check it out anywhere on major platforms. TikTok, that's about it. All right, so hopping back in, I wanted to ask you, what did grief look like for you when something major ended, whether it was that relationship, a job, or just a version of yourself?
I feel like grief, I think I kind of touched on this before, that I had to pretty much grieve my entire world. This was a person that I was with since I was 16. We got married, I was 19, and we were married for 10 plus years. So that means the connections that I had with my ex, that means the just really everything, like even songs that I shared with that ex, like my whole life changed, because I was just completely, like, my identity was so enveloped in him that it was like I didn't really know, like, who I was without him.
Yeah.
So I just my whole person of being was just rocked. The person that I thought I was was gone. I kind of felt like I had to rebuild my entire self from the ground, because it came from, like, I thought I knew who I was, but then when I realized, like, I was journaling and I was doing all that self-work, I was realizing, like, this is not me. This is not the person that I want to be. And I think just kind of realizing that, like, I don't have to be silent anymore. Like, I don't have to shrink. I had to reconstruct the version of who I thought I was. So I pretty much, like, I had to find myself. And I think that's kind of like, that was the hardest part, because when I left, everything fell apart. And, my relationship with my kids struggled. My relationship with friends that I knew through him, I had, people who were picking sides. People were running back and forth telling me, like, oh, well, he just said this, and oh, he said that, and why are you not fighting for your marriage, and this, that, and the other. Like, what?
You cannot fight with somebody that doesn't even want to be in a ring. And exactly. I think that's where a lot of people, especially as it pertains to, like, serious relationships, marriages, whatever you want to call it, right? These spiritual ties. If the other person has consciously already made up their mind that they want something different, but they are not being forthcoming about what they truly want, right? You've already fucking lost. You've already lost. So at the end of the day, that's a one-sided battle that you're gonna lose every single time. And I learned that the long way.
But I think I already grieved the marriage before it was over.
Yeah.
So when it was ended, I was okay.
Relieved.
I was, yes.
But scared.
I could breathe. I was like, you know what? I gave it my all, and that's all that matters. Like, but I think the issue is, when somebody dies, you can never contact that person again. But when you end a relationship, it's just like you choose not to want to contact them again.
Yeah.
But it's still a death.
It is. Because it's literally it's all the goals, the plans, the dreams, the aspirations that you two have built. It is
Mm-hmm.
literally the fantasy of what could have been. You
Exactly.
understand? And thoughts of the
That
future,
hope.
and you're tied still to the past of all the wrongdoings and the things that you've accepted from this person. And if you've done anything to the person, you're holding on to all of that and you're thinking about that. So it's a multiple funeral. I seen something online one time. They said, when you are grieving the loss of a relationship, right? You're not just grieving that relationship, and I think you already said this, right? They say you're grieving yourself as well, right? Because a part of you has essentially been lost and died in that relationship. And it's funny that you kind of like drove the conversation in this way, because I think a lot. And so the other day when I was walking, I was thinking about that and how you know I think for me, the first red flag for myself would be if I start feeling like the things that I'm interested in and the things that I have a passion in, if I no longer have a desire or a drive to do it, that's when I need to start really taking
Mm-hmm.
inventory of my external
Yes.
environment
Yes.
and
Yes.
saying, okay, I need to be able to move this around and pivot this way, because that is the greatest thing. I feel like so many women in general end up walking away from relationships feeling like they have lost themselves. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
not talking about in a small way. I'm talking about, just in like dreams, goals, aspirations, right? If you were outgoing and, what I'm saying, you might have had like a very possessive partner who literally conditioned you not to be outgoing.
Mm-hmm.
Now you don't even know how to interact with people.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something that I'm on the topic, or I'm putting two and two together, something that I had went through with my previous marriage that I didn't realize that it actually affected me.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Because I used to be like, yeah, I'm antisocial. I don't like people. That's not true.
Mm-hmm.
This motherfucker trained me
Energy
and
was
told
running
me
off
that I
on
don't
you.
like people and that I shouldn't like people. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Out of jealousy and the need
Mm-hmm.
to control.
He didn't have to compete if it was
He
nobody
didn't.
to compete with.
There's nobody to compete with. You got all the competition.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you don't have to worry about me getting too close to my family and talking. You know.
They actually have you seen the show Sisters?
Uh.
No, okay. There was actually a scene in the show. It was so good. I recommend it. But it was actually a scene in the show where this guy, um, it was so much that went on. He was so toxic, but he basically was trying to win the love of this young lady who had a sisterhood.
Mhm.
And her sisters was her friends, right? They were trying to tell her, like, listen, like, this is not good. You shouldn't do this. She was ready to lose her friendships over him.
Yeah.
And so he ended up giving her everything she wanted because he had money, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And he bought her my bad, my daughter's screaming.
Okay. We
But
mom. It's all right.
we real parents here, right?
Yeah.
But so he ended up buying her a house out in the middle of nowhere. Now, mind you, this girl was a lawyer.
Mm.
She had her own money. She didn't need him to do that. But she was so close to her friends that he didn't want her that close because there's control in isolation.
She has to worry about what she's saying to her friends and what they're putting in her head.
Mm-hmm. And so it's like, when we continue to talk about, grief, I think the hardest part is that a woman, well, I'm not even going to say woman, a person walks away feeling so distraught because they have to grieve that version of them who believed that love could fix it,
Yeah.
who believed that that loyalty that they gave would be returned,
Enough.
who
Yeah.
believed that if I just hold on a little bit longer, maybe they'll
Okay.
finally act right.
You'll realize that he's fucking wrong, and but that never happens,
It
and that
never
is really the
happens.
biggest trick that is played on so many women, people in general, right? Like
Yeah.
you said, but especially women.
Yeah.
It's
And I think,
like the delusion you've created in your own head,
yes,
in
yes.
conjunction. Well, no, it ain't no in conjunction. It's thinking that a person is going to, possibly wake
Act
up
right.
and decide, oh my God, what am I doing to this poor sweet baby angel? She's amazing. I shouldn't be doing this.
Yes, but
No,
and I think that's
it never comes across their fucking heads.
it
Never.
doesn't, and that's the hardest part is because you bend over backwards for this person. You silence yourself to keep the peace. You walk on eggshells, to make sure that they have what they need.
Yeah, and they
Order
just
yourself down.
their ass to kiss at the end of the day,
You give
and
and you
that's
give.
and it feels like a huge loss.
Yes,
It feels like you took an L, like a
and
big one.
that's a part of the grief that you have to go through because
And,
she was trying so hard and she was only trying to be loved.
but so in the same token, and this is going to bring us into segment 5. That also makes me think about an ego death, right? Because when you go through that and you start to actually put, when the math starts mapping and you realize that your delusion was an act of your own, right? And even, and sometimes we go in and out of it. So we're like, no, like we know what we know, that that person is never going to fucking wake up and be like, oh, let me do right by her. It's not
that accountability that you was talking about.
Exactly, right? But then there's also that other part, the female part of the brain that's like, all right, maybe they're going to run into somebody that's going to do them the same way, and then they'll be sorry, right? But nurses, they're never really fucking sorry. They're always there's no remorse. There's no remorse, right? So even if they do happen to stumble upon someone that does them the same exact way, they're not going to think back historically like, yo, I did the same thing to such and such, right? Or my old person, let me fucking change my ways. They're going to be like, no, all women have to pay.
It's not my fault.
Yo.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny that you said that because I literally remember my ex saying, I feel sorry for the next woman because the next woman is going to suffer because of you.
So he basically admitted, sir.
Okay.
So you're basically, I had someone threaten that to me too, and I was like, that's your karma to live with. At the end of the day, I don't know if you think because you're exempt, but you're not. You're not. You're gonna try. You're gonna F around and find out on the Richter scale. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of them don't get it until they're like 60 and 70 years old after they shit don't work no more. Nobody. You know what I'm saying? And now they start reflecting back on all the good women they had.
I should have done this better.
Pushed on. Yeah. Now you're sorry. I would be too. Please don't hit me up when I'm 80. Please don't, because I know the way I'm set up, my mouth is reckless, and I don't see it dimming down anytime soon. So let's just not do that.
Yeah,
we're not gonna do that. Not today.
I mean, and I look at it like this. I always tell myself, you know what? I'm stronger than the me who settled.
Oh, for sure.
And I'm clearer than the me who was confused. And just that version of me who was scared and scarred and tired and aching, she's no longer shrinking. She's no longer begging. She's no longer looking for scraps.
Well, she's morphed into 2.0.
That's right.
Yeah.
There's a powerful rebirth.
Yes. So the wild thing is leaving that relationship wasn't just a breakup, like you said. It was a complete spiritual reawakening. All of these gifts that I had, and you had to, your intuition, your connection, to tarot, even telepathic experiences, they all came rushing back, right? And you said you were experiencing sleep paralysis regularly. Once you left, it completely stopped. So
I think it was like, so if we go back to like control and isolation, because like my ex even at some point didn't like certain friends of mine, and like didn't like certain, like family members of mine, and I didn't know why.
He was jealous of them.
But I don't even think it was that. I think it because those were the ones that would have spoken out to me a long time ago. But you know what I did? I chose to take his side. So now the only people who were actually there to support me, I shut them out. So I didn't have anybody to help me be like, hey, don't do that. Hey, girl, watch your back, because he got rid of them all. And I was stupid enough to let him.
So you basically let him alienate you, help
I did.
him alienate you.
Mm-hmm.
But they again, like, and that's why I asked in the beginning of this episode, like, was he a grandiose narcissist or a covert? Because the two, they're very.
I mean, there are mixtures.
Dangerous. They're very dangerous, right? But there are very obvious signs. Like the covert does things very stealthily, sneakily.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And they'll even help you carry out their missions.
Oh yeah,
you won't even realize what they're doing. Yeah,
I swear. Yes, it's not always obvious. You know, it could sound like, oh, I just want to protect you. Nobody understands you.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like how they treat you. You shouldn't talk to them. Or
they
oh, you know, you changed.
They will
talk to them.
They speak to your ego. They tell you all the things that your inner child always wanted to hear, so that you can feel that false perception of love, right? And then also while you're falling into that trap, right?
You don't even realize.
So they can get ready, and that's when the real work starts.
Mm-hmm.
That's when their real work starts.
If it ever starts.
Not on them, but on you.
Yeah. Because, I mean, it definitely made me second guess myself. You know, I did not trust my own instincts for a long time. I was always feeling like I was being selfish for wanting time alone. Yeah. I felt cruel for, you know, setting boundaries, and, you know, like, I stopped reaching out to my friends. I stopped saying what I needed.
Yeah.
I stopped singing. And anybody that knows me knows I love to sing. I love to write. But guess what? I stopped.
You be up a hello. Jack, what the
fuck? But I stopped, right? Because even though it brought me joy, I knew that it was going to give some type of disapproval from them.
Yeah.
And so I stopped, you know, I stopped doing the things that made me me.
Yeah.
And I confused control for love and care.
Yeah.
Because they say it's love, but love doesn't corner you. Yeah. It doesn't make you shrink. It doesn't make you feel like you got to disappear. You know, like.
So I have a theory, right? I think that what ends up happening is we trade, unbeknownst to our conscious minds, is that we trade attention for respect. And we gift attention with loyalty, with no feasible basis or grounds to giving that.
I definitely can agree with that. I mean, it's almost like a cycle. You know, like, it's not like it's almost like when somebody isolates you and controls you, like, they make you feel like needing attention is being needy.
Oh yeah.
You know, and like craving
they what is it called? When they prime you to do something, they groom you.
Oh, yes.
To their attention that they give you, and then as soon as they get you hooked, then they take
it away.
Yeah, and then when you start trying to do it, then they try to make it seem like.
Yes, but the thing is, like, you don't want attention. You want acknowledgement.
I want to be acknowledged. I want to be respected.
And you don't want control. You want to be considered.
Yeah, because I have my own autonomy. Right. I'm a fucking person.
We don't want power, but we want partnership. But see, what happens is we end up feeling the same energy from them. And so we do end up starting to desire that power, that control, that attention, because that's what we think we want.
We want, yeah. When it's just it's like you said, it's like a cycle. That's what you're used to. That's what you perceivably believe to be true. So I need this in order to feel this, and it's like, no, that's attention comes and attention goes.
Right. And that's the hardest part, because people sometimes only give attention to, like, punish you or reward you, and, you know, they make you feel like just wrong. Like, they make you feel like, oh, you're ungrateful. Like, they make you feel like your wins don't matter. Yes. And they try to shrink you. But when you start chasing their attention, and it's not because you want their love, but because you need proof. that you matter.
Yeah.
You need proof that you're still, visible.
Yeah.
And so it's like you're not just like grieving a relationship, but you're grieving like the lack of you. Like you're
Yeah.
grieving the fact that you stayed calm and quiet even while
While you
screaming
want
inside for somebody to notice.
Yeah.
It's like I paid attention to all your needs. I paid attention to all your wants.
While you were ignoring mine.
And you couldn't see me.
Intentionally. Yeah.
And that's what really sucks.
Yeah. No, I wholeheartedly 100% agree with that. Because I know, like, just based on past experiences, right? And being that one person, and, to take it a notch deeper as a intuitive empath, right?
Mm-hmm.
You just naturally have that factor where you just know what it is that a person needs, right? Mm-hmm. Now, whether I choose to feed into that and give it to you, that's solely probably not now, right? Because I'm still I'm healing. I'm not all the way healed, right?
Not healed. Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Here's my thing. Do I have that capability, that ability? 100%, right? But I think what ended up happening is that it was abused so much. And I say that it was abused because I do not believe that anybody is blind to that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't care how much of a narcissist, covert, or fucking grandiose, right? You have an intuitive come into your life and you're like, yo, my back's hurting. And she puts her finger right on the spot that is hurting. And it's not the first time, the second time, or the third time, but the fourth,
all
fifth,
the time.
seventh, it's always every time.
Mm-hmm.
It's the fact that she knows exactly what hurt you've been through, so that way she doesn't step on those fucking mud holes to blow up bombs.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So at some point, even if the thought just flashed across your head like, yo, this bitch is weird. She is superficial. I don't know what the fuck this is. It takes a special type of evil, demonic energy to try to play on that and try to trick somebody and gaslight them into believing that they're crazy, right? Because it's like, I don't know if you've ever experienced this.
Yeah.
A dream about your partner and then sharing the dream and they looking at you like you're fucking crazy, knowing damn well in that fucking raggedy ass subconscious, you asking yourself, how the fuck does she know that? Because I walk with the answers, baby.
Yes.
How many times I've heard after the fact, like, yo, I don't even know how you fucking do that.
Mm-hmm.
So again, that goes back to that's a demonic fucking energy. You have no fucking soul. You know what I'm saying? So, and now that's why, like, with that, I know what I'm capable of, but I know that I have to be mindful of how I distribute it.
Absolutely. Right? Everybody don't deserve access.
Yeah.
I think
people...
Oh, I'll cut you off. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, because I was about to ramble. I
was gonna say, like when we think about like the psychology behind attention, like why attention matters, like even when we're like babies and like from infancy, we look for caregivers to give us eye contact, that touch, that safety, right? And so it's not like a luxury, but we need them to survive.
That's
when you're in a relationship where attention is withheld, conditioned, or weaponized, your nervous system doesn't just feel rejected. It's like, whoa, danger.
Yeah, because it's like, what the fuck? What
are you doing?
What the hell is?
Yeah, and so, and the crazy part about it is, it's very subtle how abuse is typically, attention is typically withheld. So like, controlling people don't always yell, but they withhold silently. They withdraw. They delay their responses. They ignore your pain, and it's because it causes you to question yourself. You're literally gaslighting yourself. Damn, maybe I'm too sensitive. Maybe I do expect too much. You know what? Let me go ahead and start shrinking what I need and what I want. And that's how they condition you to do what they want.
Yeah.
To accept the bare minimum.
Trust me, you preaching to the choir, because I know. I know. I didn't write the book, baby, but I was in there. I was at chapter 2 or something like that. I think I was.
Yeah.
Um, so what happened when you finally started to be able to create space for your spirit to breathe again?
I think I was kind of talking about that before the break. I met this amazing person, and they became my best friend, and we went to see a Reiki queen. And for those of you who don't know what Reiki is, it is a spiritual doctor, basically. And she basically was kind of looking inside of my spirit and my soul, and she saw some things there. And that's when she told me, like, you just got out of something heavy. I didn't tell this lady anything, but she was like, you just got out of something heavy, and I see like it's weighing you down. And so she pretty much cleansed me of the things that were there. I guess it was like some type of energy or something that was attached to me. And it was, once she began to do that, that was the beginning of my healing journey right there. And at the time, my best friend was with me, didn't know that that was going to be my wife. But she has been here with me from the beginning. Like, she pretty much, she was there with me as I reclaimed myself, that I'm not hard to love, that I'm not too much, that I'm not broken, that I'm not dramatic. And I feel like, just being able to go to the Reiki queen, and just kind of like getting my spirit cleansed was the beginning for me. And that's how I began to make space for who I really was becoming. I think, when it didn't happen all at once, it was like, because I still was feeling something, like I still felt pulled, and I still felt my ex's energy. I started noticing, like, my intuition was like definitely working really hard, because I just got people sending me screenshots from Facebook. Oh, he just said this about you. Videos. Oh, well, they just posted this video about you. Oh, this, that. And I was just like, what is happening? But my energy was so focused on them that even the Reiki queen told me, like, you got to be careful what you do, because you are in a very powerful state right now. And so that caused me to take solitude in myself, and to be like, okay, I started noticing what no longer fit. I started noticing the conversations that drained me. I started cutting off people. I started realizing if there was a room that I felt like I needed to shrink myself in, I didn't belong. I started realizing, like, that those identities that I wore just to keep the peace, shrinking myself, being quiet, nah, not anymore. And so I think, I stopped apologizing for what I needed. I stopped apologizing for needing more. I stopped shrinking to be digestible. I stopped confusing attention with care. And I began to really peel back the layers of who I was told I had to be, of who I became for survival. And I met myself again. And it wasn't the perfect version. It's still not the perfect version. But I'm still becoming that person every day. I'm getting closer and closer to what that truth looks like. Because in that space, I experience grief and joy. And, becoming always begins with a funeral. And so I had to have a funeral for the death of that version of who I was, who was trying so hard and who was in survival mode for so many years. Mind you, I was married for 10 plus years. So I just couldn't walk away. Like, I had to really find my softness. They say soft girl era. I'm definitely there. But side note, in order for you to be in your soft girl era, you have to be around a partner or around a support system who creates that safe space for you to be soft. Because if you're around people who don't allow you to be soft, you're going to always feel like you need to protect yourself. And I remember my ex always saying, like, why you always got to be so defensive? Why you always got to be so hard? Because I ain't have nobody to protect me.
Including you, sucker. Including you, motherfucker.
Yes. But I think when people talk about, oh, I'm stepping into my soft girl era, it's like, it's not about being passive. It's about being done with chaos.
Chaos, yeah. And
we had a conversation earlier when you were like, I ain't got time for that. No, because we're done with that. We're done with surviving with emotional crumbs. We're done with scratching and proving ourselves and screaming. And for what? We done with people pleasing.
Yeah.
We done with, no boundaries. Feeling like we got to explain ourselves. Mm-hmm. We no longer fighting to be seen. We are no longer explaining our worth.
See me as I am, or not at all.
Facts.
And, at the end of the day, I feel like there is always someone for everyone, right? I might not be the perfect cup of tea for everybody, and I'm okay with that. Whereas I think there was a point where I was definitely begging to be seen and chose and picked. You know what I'm saying? Where now I'm just like, not that I'm not appreciative of what I have, right? But I'm not fighting for a spot, because people be like, oh, you got to fight for it. No, I should not have to do that.
Right.
I should not have to. I expect people now to where this is something that I never had before, for myself to meet me where I'm at. You gonna have, I'm sorry, baby, but I can't take the elevator down there. I just don't want to no more.
Right.
I refuse. So you gonna have to get your lazy ass and take the escalator, take the elevator, walk up the stairs. I don't know what you're gonna do.
Right.
You have to meet me where I'm at. And if you can't do that, it's c'est la vie.
Facts.
Sarah.
Facts.
Whatever will be, will be. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot to get to that point. But what does protection mean to you, spiritually, emotionally, and energetically?
What do you mean? Like, do you mean as far as like me protecting myself, or as far as like, what do you mean?
So all of that. So let's start with you, because you are the star player of the game. Obviously, without you, there would be no story. Correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, what are things what resonates to you when it comes to emotional, spiritual, and energetic protection? What does that look like? Like, what does it feel like?
I feel like you have to protect yourself, not because you're bitter, but because you finally understand what it costs when you don't.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, because you got to understand your peace is expensive.
Yeah.
And not everybody deserves to sit with you or to be in your space. And I think I am way more aware of who and what I give my energy to. I'm no longer just handing it out for free. You can't have access to my spirit like it's free, like it has to be, I have to feel like, so I'm no longer people pleasing, like I have to say no when my mind is overloaded, not just when my calendar is full, right? But we were supposed to have done this episode, I don't know how many times. And I'm like, yes, this is just not it. And you do the same.
We both be on that same type of time, because understand, like, if it's not a line, it's not a line at that time.
Exactly.
I'm not a fan of forcing shit.
Right.
Trust and believe, if I wake up in the morning and my spirit and my body is not in agreement, guess who's calling in to no, I'm calling in. Call it what you wanted. But we
but we have to. We got to, because, us being mothers and, like having so many people that depend on us, like all the clients that we see.
Yeah.
It's a lot, and so we have to be in charge of protecting ourselves. Nobody else can protect us like us. And
Yes.
so, you know, we have to let go of the over explaining. If you misunderstand me, that's not my fault. That's not my job to fix it, you know?
Yeah.
And so um just acknowledging the fact that I can't give my vulnerability to people who want to weaponize it.
Mm.
And I refuse to beg for crumbs of anything, cuz I know I'm worth way more than that.
Right.
You know, so understanding that emotional safety is not a luxury. It's the bare minimum.
Yeah.
I literally was, you know, allowing myself to be put into this place where I was disconnected spiritually.
Mm.
I didn't trust my intuition. I didn't even know I had gifts. Like, let that sink in. I did not know I had gifts. Like, I didn't know that there was something in me that was greater than what was being, because it was being blocked. And so now I'm very protective over my energy, because I know I can never let that happen again.
Mm. And I feel like as it pertains to like spiritual protection, because we've had this conversation before, and I don't know like if people are even aware of this, but just from I always one thing about it is I'm always going to speak on experience, right? And the costs that you're going to end up paying for not protecting your own spiritual well-being
Mm,
it will always be great. For some people
absolutely.
it is detrimental and dire, and I don't know if you remember this past winter when I was telling you I had to lock all my mirrors in here because I had a 2 weeks I could not fucking sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't sleep.
Mm-hmm.
When I was sleeping it was for like maybe a half hour
Mm-hmm.
or an hour and a half for 2 weeks. Like, can you imagine how insane that can drive a person? And you know me very well, so I channel mostly through dreams. So for me, not being able to sleep
Mm-hmm.
and not being able to dream feels like a death sentence. Because
Mm-hmm.
I'm literally just down here, just existing in a fucking meat suit, and then
Mm.
taking a nap and waking back up with nothing. There's no nothing. There's no
There's no
information.
substance.
There's
Yeah.
no substance. I have no direction for the next day.
Mm.
Like on a deeper level. But yeah,
Mm-hmm. I mean, but that's because nobody teaches you that your energy is sacred.
yeah,
You know, and that wasn't something that I was taught. Like, I was taught, go to church. Like I said, my grandfather was a pastor.
yeah,
You know, my grandmother was the first lady. I had a very big role in church growing up, but like nobody told me to protect my energy.
yeah.
They told me be nice, be helpful, be available, be understanding, be forgiving, blah 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 blah. But like, what about pause before you pour into somebody?
To
Check
be still,
the
because the
person
Bible
who's
talks
pouring
about
into
that.
you.
Yeah,
Exactly. You know, because you got to recognize when your spirit is tired, even if your body is still moving.
yeah,
So I didn't know that. So I was given access without intention and
yeah.
letting people speak over my silence. I kept answering messages even when I wasn't supposed to be.
Mm.
I thought being drained was just life.
Yeah.
That was just how you do it. But now, you know, now I know, like, my peace is not disposable.
Mm.
My attention is a privilege.
Oh yes.
You know, like, I started listening to my body, the tension, the fatigue, the way I felt after certain people left, the way I felt after talking to certain people. I started catching how certain spaces made my spirit feel a little off.
Yep.
And then I started thinking, like, wait, okay, maybe I'm not too sensitive. Maybe just this person shouldn't be around.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I began to protect it. You know, leaving early without explaining myself, you know, choosing peace over being kind, no
Mm-hmm.
longer people pleasing. Like, and so now,
No, when you felt the need to say no, because that's always a huge one. I
yes,
feel like we have to appease people, you know,
yes,
just to keep them around. But it's like a person that is meant to be around would not have you sacrifice,
your
knowing that
time.
you're uncomfortable with saying
Mhm.
yes to something you know, because that's just their ego again, that humanistic
Yes.
thing.
And so I had to learn, you know, like not to bend so that somebody else will feel comfortable, not to smile when my spirit is screaming, you know, like I had to learn not to dim my truth so that somebody else can shine.
Yeah.
And I think that what I used to call loyalty was really fear. Like that's this fear of being disliked, this fear of being called difficult, you know, this fear of disappointing people who never considered how much I was, you know, like disappointing
Doing so
myself just
long,
to keep
how
them
much?
happy.
Oh yeah.
I was being trained.
Yeah.
So now them boundaries be up. I
As they
honor discomfort. If I feel uncomfortable, I'm like, oh, I gotta head on out.
yeah. Gotta go. Gotta go, baby.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I just look like I need to be alone for a little while.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yep.
You know. So what has healing allowed you to do or feel differently with your children or even your inner child?
Oh yeah, we were talking about them kids, weren't we?
The babies. The babies.
So honestly, like before we even get into the kids, like this is when things get a little bit more real, right? Because even after you heal, even after you find peace, there's still pieces of your old life that you have to face.
Yes.
And you know, loving someone new doesn't mean the old wounds never speak.
Yeah.
I still got a co-parent with my ex, and let me tell you, it's not easy. It is not easy. I mean, it's lies, manipulations, passive aggressive text, you know, false narratives being spun, and it's stories being twisted, playing victim in public. You know, like girl, I have been, you know, accused, and the CPS and the police been called on me, just all the things. But I think the hardest part is watching my kids getting pulled between diluted versions of the truth.
Yeah.
It's like being in a boxing ring and you're the only one showing up without gloves.
Mm.
Not because you're weak, but because you've chosen not to fight dirty.
Mm.
And the people around me, they be like, girl, why you not clapping back? Why you won't drag them the way they drag you? Like, why you still being calm? And to be honest, I thought about it. But it's like when you're watching someone chip away at your reputation, the type of mother you are, your character, hell yeah, the anger builds.
Oh yeah.
Rage is real. It rises. But in the old, you definitely wants to lace up, you know, strap up, put them gloves on and go to war, right? But
Yeah.
the new me, the healing me, she just knows something different, girl. And she knows that when you are divinely guided, you
You
don't
are
have to swing
divinely
back.
protected.
You
Yeah.
don't have to destroy them, because why?
I don't
Karma
gotta. I don't
don't
gotta
miss.
because I don't know not one person that's ever crossed me that has ended up in a better situation. And that's
Exactly.
on God.
Because karma don't miss.
That's on God.
On God, right? You don't have
They,
to prove
they try to
yourself.
make it seem like it on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But then you get little. You get them little. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
The streets be talking.
And the thing is, like, look, you don't have to prove yourself, because peace can't be faked.
No, I can't.
And
I can't.
protection, real protection,
It ain't. Yeah. Yeah. It just. It's announced with you. You know what I'm saying? Like in every film, they like, yo, this bitch still alive. Yes.
especially when they thought they was gonna bury you.
It's all we don't die. We multiply.
Yes. Dude. And so, you know, there's something deeply sacred about knowing who you are so clearly that even when somebody tries to drag you through the mud,
they can't. You can't
untouched.
touch me. You can't.
Touched, unbothered.
Father, yeah. What they say? Blessed and highly protected.
Blessed and highly favored.
Highly favored. There you go.
And it's not because you don't feel it, but because you've risen above the need to be seen as right.
Yeah.
And that's the healing.
I don't give a shit about none of that. See, and that's why, you know, I stopped telling my side of the story with a lot of things, right? obviously, like me and you, we have conversations and stuff like that. But outside of like feeling the need to be like, oh, I gotta tell this person, I don't give a fuck, right? Because the bottom line is, I feel like if I have to go out of my way to drag another person, whether I feel like they did me wrong or not,
something is wrong.
if something is wrong, right? I'm gonna sit back. I'm gonna let you do me. And this is something I don't know if anybody at home, because I'm a retired crash out. So I used to feel yes, I am. I used to feel the need to go. You know, I had to be very direct and forward with the social media. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel the need to do any of that anymore. I've actually trained myself to do the complete opposite. So I find something that is completely unrelated to what I'm going through, right? Even if I have to make up the content, and I'll create something positive just so I can help myself, because that's at that point, that's all I need to fucking do.
It's like if you helping yourself, you might as well help others.
Right.
And so, like I said, I could clap back, I could match the energy, but I don't, because I know who I am.
Right.
And I know who's watching, and this is gonna bring me to my 6 kids, and my wife.
Right.
And I know the kind of mother, wife, woman, soul I'm committed to becoming. And karma doesn't miss. And so when you're aligned, you don't chase validation. You stand in your truth.
Truth. That's it. That's all I could do. At the end of the day,
you don't have to be hateful, because you're protected. You don't need revenge anymore, because you have peace. You don't need chaos, because you got clarity. And so you don't need to be loud, because silence is deafening.
Oh, yes.
So I show up, not for my ex, but for my children.
Yeah.
And I will always show up for my children and for myself. So I respond, not because he deserves my grace, but because I deserve my peace. So when people ask me, like, girl, why you not swinging back? Some battles aren't mine to fight. Yeah. They belong to the ancestors.
Yeah.
To karma, to the divine. And baby, the divine don't play about me. Okay?
Exactly. Yeah, we just set that up the ladder, God damn it. Don't worry about it. What we working on next?
Don't worry about it, sweetheart. Don't worry about it.
That's okay. So I just want to, before I get into the closing section, I just wanted to really take a moment to thank you for taking this time to share this on here. I want you to share any closing comments or anything that you want everybody to know before I get into the closing section.
Okay.
And if there's a way that you would like the audience to contact you, just let them know that too. I'm going to throw it up on the screen.
All right, cool. So I know y'all, we started off talking about the type of mother that I was. But here's the thing, like, I became what I never saw. What I never saw model for me, I became a soft, safe, emotionally available mother. And this change has reshaped everything. And that's when I noticed, like, I didn't freeze when my kids hugged me anymore. Now I melt into them, and I love when they come and hug me, because I understand that that's the way healed love is shown. Healthy love is shown. So I don't pull away anymore. When they come and they kiss me and they check in on me and they remind me that they love me, I embrace it, because they remind me that healing does work. And I don't just love them now, but I let them love me back. And I can sit in love and actually feel it. It feels so good. Like, I'm thinking about it right now. Like, literally, like, my daughter just came up to me and just gave me a hug before we even started. And I was just like, man, like, it feels so good. I don't parent from survival anymore. I parent from softness. I parent from presence. And I'm no longer passing down what I was handed. I am rewriting the story. I started showing up differently. Now I'm soft. I'm present. I'm available. And not because I was perfect, but because I was healing. And because I finally found a place where I didn't have to survive love. I could just receive it. And I don't just love my kids. I let them love me back. So
Love it.
if you take anything from this episode, let it be this. When you grow up in chaos, love feels like a battlefield.
Yeah.
But real love is not like that at all. It's quiet. It's steady. It doesn't ask you to shrink. And narcissistic love teaches you that you got to perform.
Oh, yeah.
But safe love teaches you to rest. And sometimes the biggest red flag is just how loud your nervous system gets when it finally goes silent. Because I wasn't broken. I was conditioned. And when I finally left what was choking me, I came home to myself. And this journey has shown me the difference between familiarity and safety, narcissistic survival, and true intimacy. And truly being loved and being seen. Because if love feels like a test, it's not love, baby. If affection makes you brace, you got more healing to do.
Oh, yes.
And if your intuition ever goes quiet in a relationship, in a friendship, any type of ship, pay attention. I wasn't broken. I was buried. And leaving what wasn't for me allowed me to resurrect the version of me that always existed. Because I was in that brokenness for 10 plus years. But I wasn't always this woman. I wasn't always this mom, but I became her. And I'm still becoming her. Soft, present, spiritually gifted. I actually am going to start doing, some tarot readings, because my sister, Kim, and a few other people were like, you need to just go ahead and do it. So I'm going to start doing that. So I'm going to have to give y'all the info for that. I need you to help me set that up.
Right. I got you.
But I'm no longer the one who flinches, and if you're tired and you're wondering when it'll get better, you're not broken, you're becoming. And sometimes becoming requires letting go of everything that made you feel small. You're not too much. You're not broken. And the moment that you leave was dimming your light, your gifts, your softness, your full self will completely return. You're too powerful for where you've been. And if they couldn't see your light, that's because it wasn't meant for them. So, you are worthy. You are enough. Don't confuse chaos with passion. Don't confuse performance with love. And don't confuse silence with safety. And most of all, don't stay where your soul cannot breathe.
That part. So I want to thank you guys for being here with us today and for witnessing our stories and hopefully seeing yourself reflected in some of what we shared. If this conversation touched something in you, we would love to hear about it. And remember, you are not broken. You are not too much. You are just learning, like we all are, how to let love in. Before you guys leave, I just want to remind everybody, make sure you hit the notification bell with a subscribe, leave something in the comments. Let us know what you took away from this. Yep, like it. And leave something in the comments. All right, let us know what your biggest takeaway was for this episode. And make sure you guys go and visit nchukym.com. The link is in my bio, but I'm going to link it down below. You guys can go and download my 7-day reset survival kit.
It's good, y'all. Get it.
Get it.
Look, get it while it's good.
All righty. On that note, okay, bye.
Bye.